Couchman Entertainment. Kick back and enjoy. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Couchman Entertainment. I'm your host, the Couchman, and today we got a pretty cool topic. We are going to be discussing patch 11, which is set to release on the 16th of July. So this coming week, we will have a substantial patch being delivered to Fallout 76, which I think will definitely lay the groundwork for future patches and expansions coming out. Particularly, I think this is definitely going to be aimed more towards things like the Vault Raids. I think this will be kind of geared towards those, as well as kind of prepping for the Wastelanders DLC, which is going to be the next big one kind of down the line. So anyway, so some of the big key highlights to notice: food and supplies will now actually last 50% longer than they currently do. So a big issue in the game right now is you craft all these foods and items and things like that, but they tend to expire relatively quickly. And a big thing that kind of gets people is if you fast travel. Fast traveling actually, as of right now, degrades a massive chunk of your food supply. So you'll make this item, you'll fast travel, and all of a sudden, there you go. There's a big chunk of it missing. So now the item doesn't last nearly as long. So that's going to be one of the things that actually gets addressed with this patch is there will be no condition loss on fast travel for food. And just walking around in general, they will last 50% longer. So I think that'll be a nice balance to that particular system. And another thing is they're trying to make the game a little bit more friendly towards new people. And I think the reason they're doing this particular one, like I said, is going to be aimed more towards the Wastelanders DLC. I think that will be the big one that draws a lot of classic Fallout fans back to Fallout 76. And this will be one of those pieces that definitely helps them. So for new characters under level 25, fast travel will be cheaper. They didn't give a percentage on how much, but I'm guessing it will scale depending on how far the distance is. So if, say, you're on one end of the map and you need to fast travel to the other end, it's going to be significantly cheaper for you than it would be for me. Probably 10 to 15 caps cheaper, which can be a pretty big difference. And those characters under level 15 will have a higher disease resistance. So, there is plenty of diseases that you can get in the game. There's tons of disease monsters. You can just, even sleeping in a bed, you can get a disease. So it's like they're all over the place. So anyone under level 15 will have a higher resistance to those, which is always appreciated because that just means you can stockpile more of those disease cures for later endgame things when you're fighting stronger monsters. And those diseases can actually be quite devastating, especially something like if it gets brittle bone, so your limbs get damaged so much quicker. Another thing is a lot of the early in-game challenges will give better rewards to new players. So I don't know if this is going to be affecting things like events, but there are several early in-game challenges where you get atomic points and things like that, which can be used for the shops for paints and whatnot. And those kind of rewards, I think, will be shifted over from the atomic shop to more in-game items. So things like, you'll get more stim packs, or you'll get better upgraded weapons, or higher level weapons, or even just armor pieces in general. I think that will be a big help for early on players, because I know even when I started playing early on, I kept running into the thing where I kept running out of stim packs. And it wasn't because I was just burning through them unconditionally, just like I take a little bit of damage and pop one. It's just I get down to almost no health and I have to pop a stim pack before I die, and I have to go back and try to pick up all my loot. So it's just one of those things where I think they will give more in-game rewards, just kind of like, you'll be spoiled in the beginning, and then they'll kind of level it out as you go, because you won't need as much, and once you get to certain levels, you'll be able to craft these items. So there's no reason for them to give them to you in such large bulk. And the last thing for new characters is they're going to reduce high-level monster encounters in certain sub-regions of the bigger areas. So the ones they specifically listed was the Ash Heap, the Savage Divide, and the Toxic Valley. So in those regions, the little icons on the map, the sub-regions in those, so there's like different little pockets area that make up the whole area, you'll have a lower level chance of running into a high-level monster, which will definitely be very beneficial. I think they will do some of their level scaling, which they are planning to drop in for the Vault Raids, like that instancing. Not really so much of that, but maybe like a smaller, more reduced version of that. So instead of running around and all of a sudden you're coming across level 60 monsters and you're level 20, you'll be coming across more like level 30 to 40 monsters at that level 20 area, which is much more easier to deal with. Yes, they'll take more bullets and things like that, but it's still manageable. And I think that would be good. The downside is for higher level players in those regions where they're supposed to be there, they're going to be finding monsters more their level rather than like, oh, here's a level 70 legendary boss. It's going to be more like a level 50 legendary boss. You know what I mean? So it kind of balances out. But that's okay because this will definitely help those new players get to where they need to be and not die as often and get frustrated. Because some people will get frustrated with that death mechanic. They die and they're just like, I don't want to go back and get my scrap. I know that thing's waiting for me. I don't want to go deal with that. So another thing they're going to be changing is the legendary item / recipe descriptions. This one is one I really will appreciate because I've picked up several legendary items, and coming from Fallout 4, I'm used to seeing all of the items' abilities when I just take a quick glance at them. Like, oh, this has got all these abilities. That's cool. What this game does is when you pick up a legendary item, it will only show one attribute associated with that item. So you end up getting these legendary weapons and it only shows you one effect. And then when you actually view them in the 3D viewer, suddenly you're like, oh, there's 2-3 more effects stacked on top of this, or the recipes don't show you at all what their benefits are. So you learn this recipe and you find out, oh, well, this is absolutely useless. It has no benefit to me whatsoever. So now all the descriptions will be up front. So when you pick up a legendary weapon, you will see all of the attributes associated with that weapon. The recipes, you will see what they will do to your character. Oh, this one gives me a health boost plus an experience gain, or an AP boost with an intelligence boost. You'll know what the recipe does prior to learning it. So it makes it a little bit easier. So if you want to pick this one up or just let it go, do you want to learn it just for shits and giggles or just never use it? So it lets you kind of have more sway over that. Another change they're making is power armor improvements. So they're fixing a number of bugs with the power armors, as well as some quality of life improvements. You'll be able to use stealth boys in power armor. You'll also be adding a new enable power armor HUD option, which will allow you to decide whether you want the power armor HUD or just the standard, walking around HUD, which will kind of be nice because sometimes that power armor HUD does get a little bit clunky and it just doesn't. It just doesn't flow very well. So some people like it, some people don't, but I think it kind of wears thin. So this will be a nice, just extra piece that they're throwing in. And the last big topic they brought up was the bulk junk auto scrapping option. So a lot of people have complained that when you scrap all junk, it scraps your bulk items, and so it ends up causing you to have more weight in your inventory. So they've fixed it. So now when you scrap all junk, it will leave all bulked items automatically scrapped, so you don't have to worry about that. So this will be a big thing for that, that inventory management, which is a nightmare to deal with, especially when you only have 800 pounds in your inventory case. It's just, you fill it up fast. So when you bulk items, you free up a lot of that space. And then they just also threw in on their patch notes, the punch bowls are back. You can get, Nuka Shine at friendly people's camps, and you can get the punch bowls and stuff. So yeah, these are all things that they're planning to add in for patch 11. They also have a new seasonal event that's coming out. That's going to be associated with Grom, the super mutant that's wandering around in the wasteland that everybody knows. It's going to be something along the lines of a grilling competition / you're kind of helping them out. You're going to gather up supplies, things like that. And, it'll be kind of cool because they haven't had a seasonal event for quite some time. So this will be a new one that they're going to add in. And I think it'll definitely bring the community back together in this game, which will be really nice. And then, again, they added in Fallout 76 is going to be going to QuakeCon 2019, which I definitely would like to see. They said it's going to have its own booth. They're going to kind of go through and give more specifics on Wastelanders and the Nuclear Winter, upcoming vault raids and things like that. So they definitely have a lot of stuff going on for that. So that'll be very cool to see. But yeah, so that should kind of wrap things up for this kind of update for patch 11. if you like the content and you want to keep up to date on Fallout 76, I'm going to try doing these more on a regular basis. So definitely like and subscribe to the channel. It will definitely help me out. And I'll see you all next time. Couchman out.